Good evening and welcome to the Genesis Science Report. I'm David Rives, and coming up on tonight's show, we'll examine a fascinating ancient bird fossil that has webbed feet, just like modern ducks. So does this mean that birds were gradually adapting to water, or were these birds fully designed for swimming from the start? Wildlife expert Michael Maughon joins us to break it down with a live duck just to help the illustration. We will also tackle a question about predators. If God's original creation was perfect, why do so many animals seem built for hunting? Were sharp teeth and venom always meant for killing, or could they have had another purpose? Stick around for the answer in this week's Genesis Science Q&A. But first, just 180 years ago, Samuel Morse and Alfred Vail showcased the first breakthrough in long-distance communication with their telegraph, setting the stage for humanity's relentless quest to connect. This journey advanced into instant communication through telephones and was further changed by the internet, which brought us emails and messaging apps for real-time interactions across the globe. Today, social media platforms, like the one you're watching right now, enhance our ability to connect like never before, paving the way for the latest revolution in communication. That would be Starlink. Starlink is a groundbreaking satellite internet network created by SpaceX, designed to provide internet access worldwide, especially in areas that lack service. Now, with the ambition to connect even the most remote locations, Starlink is a major achievement in telecommunications, but it faces huge challenges, both in terms of funding and technology. As Elon Musk stated, the reason Starlink is the only global high-bandwidth internet system of any kind, terrestrial or space-based, is that it is a staggeringly difficult technology problem. Developing and deploying thousands of satellites means that you need an enormous financial investment and meticulous planning, all while ensuring that these satellites are operating effectively in low Earth orbit. The scientific breakthroughs required for Starlink are notable. Engineers and scientists have worked hard to create advanced satellite technology that reduces delays and increases data speed. New designs in phased array antennae and communications methods have helped Starlink provide high-speed internet services to users all over the globe. And this is no small feat. The complexity of coordinating a vast network of satellites presents unprecedented challenges as well. Yet, as the Claris article notes, Starlink has the potential to act as a planetary nervous system of discovery, since it allows scientists to access high-speed internet in remote areas, making real-time data collection and teamwork much easier. By providing reliable connectivity in tough environments like polar regions and ocean vessels, researchers can use advanced tools and cloud resources, improving their ability to conduct studies and share discoveries. However, while the ability to connect from anywhere could be a blessing, it also raises some concerns. Areas known for their tranquility, such as quiet mountains and serene forests, may become inundated with connectivity, and this can disrupt the natural ambience that many seek in these locations. Moreover, the pervasive reach of the internet can lead to privacy issues, as previously secluded places, they actually become accessible to constant surveillance and data collection. Researchers from the University of Maryland highlighted privacy concerns regarding communication systems, which can track device locations, including military personnel in conflict zones. Their study mapped over 2 billion Wi-Fi access points, prompting Apple and Starlink to enhance privacy measures. The study warns of risks for vulnerable populations, and it urges further safeguards. Starlink's technology promises to bridge the digital divide, delivering internet access to remote communities and enhancing global communication. But the implications of such connectivity, it has to be thoughtfully considered. The potential for over-commercialization and technology's encroachment into untouched environments may alter the essence of natural spaces, which raises questions about how we balance our need for connectivity with the preservation of privacy, solitude, and the beauty of nature. While I have GPS communicators when I travel to the Grand Canyon to do research there, I actually enjoy the fact that no one can call me for a few days. I can fully embrace the moment and appreciate God's creation. In today's world of mass communication, intentionally seeking solitude and being mindful of our technology, it can provide significant health benefits. As exemplified in Jesus' life, Taking time to be alone for prayer and reflection is essential for our growth in faith. Starlink's ambitious project highlights modern technology's capabilities while inviting discussions about its future impact. Let's embrace connectivity, but also consider its implications. God created us as human beings, not as technological beings. And we should make sure that these advanced technologies don't become our Tower of Babel. Where will all this lead? Well, truly no one on earth knows at this point, but there is a God in heaven who knows, and we have to continue to put our faith and our trust in Him. We can continue to use connectivity to reach the world, to proclaim the gospel and the truth of God's Word. And that's what we do each week on this program. Make sure that you are a part of this revolution and share these videos with every single person you know. I'm David Rives, and this is the Genesis Science Report. Just outside Nashville, the Wonder Center and Science Museum, with a top 10 planetarium, kids' hands-on activities, the teen favorite 1 million volt musical Tesla show. It's worlds of fun for the entire family. Experience the wonder. Explore the science. Inspire curiosity. Embark on adventure. The Wonder Center and Science Museum. Is there such a thing as a sure proof that God is real, that creation is true, and that we can believe the Bible?
We have a fixed amount of energy and matter in this universe. But if the universe had a beginning, naturally, everything had to have come from nothing.
Wow.
Which is the most immense violation of the first law that you could imagine.
On Wonders Without Number. Friends of Genesis Science Network, we started this channel to make an impact in the lives of both Christians and inquiring skeptics around the world. It has done that in unbelievable ways. Now, one of our viewers wrote, "I've been watching your channel for nearly a week now, and I would like you to know the blessing that it's been to me. I've never had the finances or the opportunity to attend a university, but I've been a believer for the last 37 years. Your channel has done more for my understanding of my faith than any book I've read save the Bible, and I feel like I'm finally able to attend the lecture classes I've always wanted to. Thank you so much for your ministry." I want to thank you for your generous support. GSN is no simple project and requires monthly commitments to keep it on the air. Please consider becoming a partner with us today. Just call 931-212-7990 or click Give on our website. We are making a difference. I'm David Rives, and you're watching the Genesis Science Network. Welcome back to the report. It is time to tackle a viewer question in our Genesis Science Q&A. This week's submission comes from Jake on YouTube, who says, "I was always taught that God's original creation was perfect with no death. But if that's true, why do so many animals seem designed to be predators? Traits like sharp teeth, venom, and camouflage all seem like they were made for hunting. Did animals eat each other before the fall, or did they change after sin entered the world?" Thanks for the question, Jake. Let's think it through for a moment. God is infinitely wise. God did know that there would come a time when animals would need to hunt for food, when the world would change, when sin would enter into the world. And so if you were all-knowing, if you could actually design anything with the robust genetic capabilities of being able to tackle, let's just say, a vegetarian diet or a hunter's diet or whatever it might be, would you? I believe I would. I would instill in those creatures the ability to tackle different environments, different foods, different things, and also to be able to be camouflaged. You have to remember that sharp, pointy teeth don't always mean hunters. There are animals today that have really large, long, sharp, pointy teeth, and they're predominantly vegetarians. They survive off of fruit, they survive off of plants and things like that. But it does also help when it comes to hunting or to slicing through meat. The serrations in teeth, it can be just as beneficial to slice through certain types of fruits or plants as it can be to slice through meat. At the same time, we have to remember venom is another question that you mentioned, Jake. With venom, we don't know exactly what this would have been in the pre-flood world. Venom may not have been as potent. Venom may have been the result of genetic mutations. And there's absolutely no way that we can be certain on this, but what we can be certain is that a creator, a designer, an engineer who realizes that these creatures are going to be in a wide variety of environments, that they're going to be tackling a lot of different things, would instill in them the genetic capabilities for them to be able to handle things, whether that is hiding in a forest or whether that is an effective hunter with claws that they can use. But those claws can also be used when they run to help them grip the ground. So there are multiple uses, and the Lord and our Savior Jesus Christ, in His infinite wisdom, knew all of this when He created these creatures. So He built that genetic diversity into each creature. Now, we love connecting with you, our viewers. So remember to keep these questions coming. You can share them with us on social media, or you can email comments at genesissciencenetwork.com. Welcome to the Kids Corner. How many times could you squeeze an exercised hand grip like this in 1 minute? How many minutes could you continue squeezing? If you think about it, this gives you some idea of the amazing amount of work that your heart has to do nonstop. The heart is a pump composed of strong muscle. It's a muscular organ, basically, used to deliver oxygen and nutrients in blood to every other organ and every part of your body. So along the way, the blood is picking up waste products and carbon dioxide, which then travels to the lungs, where the carbon dioxide is exhaled, and then fresh oxygen is inhaled. So the oxygen replenished blood then travels back to the heart, where the cycle is repeated again and again and again. Now, oxygen is required by every part of your body, and the blood pumped through the heart is the delivery system that's used. Any organ or part of the body that doesn't receive a continual, adequate supply of oxygen is going to quickly die. I mean, do you see how important your heart is? Your heart began beating about 3 weeks after your conception, and it'll continue to beat for as long as you remain alive. The normal resting heart rate is between 60 to 100 beats per minute, and it slows while you rest or you sleep, and then it accelerates. It gets faster when you work, when you run, when you play, when you jump. But about 5 quarts of blood will be pumped through your heart every single minute. Now, I've been squeezing this here for a couple of moments now, and the muscles in my hands are getting very tired. Think about it. Our heart doesn't do that. The heart, even though it's a muscular organ, it does exactly what it's designed to do. Now, during the course of a 24-hour day, your heart will beat an average of about 100,000 times, and it'll pump about 2,000 gallons of blood, which is about, if you calculate this out, around 36 million beats and about 730,000 gallons of blood every year. That's an amazing amount of work for a muscular organ like the heart. And all of this work is done by your heart. It's only about the size of a closed fist. Now, a lot of people think that their heart is located on the left side of their chest, but your heart is actually pretty centrally located, with your rib cage kind of wrapping around it. The heart is only one of the many vital organs of your body. It's designed with complexity, and it functions without us even having to think about it. Psalm 139:14 tells us, "I will praise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are thy works, and that my soul knoweth right well." Let's remember every time we think about exercising our muscles that there are elements of our body that do precisely what they're designed to do. And again, we should praise the Lord for that. Now, after the break, we're taking a closer look at an incredible discovery, an ancient bird fossil that had webbed feet, just like modern ducks. So was this an early evolutionary step, or was this bird already fully designed for aquatic life? Wildlife expert Michael Maughon will be joining us to show how today's ducks might just give us the answer. Stay tuned. The birds of the air, they were created by God in the beginning, but they are so diverse right now. He is being handed this magnificent creature.
This bird is designed. He is chock full of design. This doesn't just happen. He'll fly over your head and he'll land and you can't hear a thing.
Is that right?
It's incredible. God thought of everything when he made them.
On Wonders Without Number. I want to thank you for supporting GSN this year. Your support is helping us send this broadcast to millions of households around the globe. You know, in a society where the theories of Darwinian evolution are bombarding our youth via schools and universities and through peer pressure, we need to saturate the airwaves with the truth of real biblical science, and you are making this happen. Your one-time, monthly, or generous end-of-year tax-deductible love gift keeps this network streaming 24/7 at no cost to our viewers. Thank you for your support. I'm David Rives. Truly, the heavens declare the glory of God. Is there a biblical view of animal rights?
We've actually got a report that was in one of our British newspapers a little while back. Don't kill mosquitoes, let them take blood donation. Now here's a great example of being futile in your thinking, right?
Right.
At what point should we be looking after animals? At what point should we be treating animals as if they were humans? So it's a really popular topic.
On Wonders Without Number. Welcome back to the report. Everywhere we look in nature, we see creatures that are perfectly suited for their environments, and sometimes even the fossil record surprises us with how complete these designs really are. Now, a recent study on an ancient bird fossil revealed something unexpected. This early bird appears to have had webbed feet, just like modern ducks. So some researchers have wildly suggested, this simply means that these birds were already evolving to aquatic environments much earlier than previous thought. But the question is, was this an incomplete evolutionary step, or was this bird fully designed for swimming from the start? If we want to understand whether birds developed these features gradually or if they were already fully functional, we don't always have to look at fossils. We can look at living ducks today for clues. Their waterproof features, webbed feet, and especially shaped bills all work together seamlessly to make them incredible swimmers and foragers. To take a closer look, I'm joined by wildlife expert Michael Maughon. He works with a variety of animals, birds, including ducks, and actually he's brought a friend of his own. Michael, thank you for being here today.
Hey, thanks for having me, David.
I appreciate you taking this opportunity because guess what? Live animals on set are not always predictable. So this is crazy. Let's start with the basics. What are you holding right now?
This is a Kayagu duck. I probably said that wrong. But this is a domestic breed of duck, and his name is Peter.
Peter. Okay, so one of the things that really stands out about ducks is their waterproof feathers, and this is sort of this universal feature that we see, but how does that work from an evolutionary perspective, or how does it work, period?
Yeah, ducks are perfectly designed to be in an aquatic environment. This isn't something that just happens over time because they need all of these features together at the same time. So they have an arapidgeal gland on their back right at the base of their tail, right above where their tail starts. They have this gland that produces oil. People call it an oil gland or a preening gland. And when you look at ducks, you'll see them grabbing on their back, and then they preen through their feathers, and they're adding that like waxy oil to their feathers, and that waterproofs them. They also have a very stiff feather, and they're curved. And they press up against each other really tight to make a nice tight seal, so they're completely waterproof.
I love it. Okay, so if these birds didn't have these features from the beginning, then all of their feathers and the down underneath and everything would get saturated with water. They would weigh too much. They would probably drown, and then we wouldn't be seeing these ducks today.
Yeah, you wouldn't be seeing these ducks. Their down feathers, down is like the best insulating thing on the planet. But if it gets wet, it's pretty much useless.
Yeah.
So they have to keep that nice and dry, otherwise they're going to have some serious issues.
Okay, but they're also known, everybody talks about the webbed feet, which that can help, it's almost like flippers, it helps them move through the water. But how does that work, and what makes webbed feet different from other birds?
Yeah, so their feet are designed for swimming. They are perfectly designed for swimming. They're webbed. Let me see if I can get up close and see if you can just see this webbed foot. Y'all see that?
I see it. Beautiful.
Yeah. They have these beautiful webbed feet, and that helps them to swim. And this is a dappling duck. So these are going to feed in shallow water, and they're the ducks that stick their booties up in the air when they're feeding. They're not a diving duck, so they're not going to go into the water. You'll see their tail just sticking out of the water. It's really cute to watch them eat.
Wow.
So they'll reach down to get vegetation that's in the water. But their feet are amazingly designed. I mean, this is not something that happens by chance. One, they're webbed so they can swim. But also, if you've ever seen a duck standing on ice, they have down all over their body, and so they're very insulated to stay warm. But their feet don't have anything to keep them warm. So God came up with an ingenious design. It's called a countercurrent heat exchange. So the warm blood coming from their heart and their body down their leg wraps up all the vessels, split into tiny vessels, and they're all like wrapped around each other. And then the cold blood from the foot coming up the leg is wrapped in that. So the hot blood is warming up the cold blood as it comes down. And that way they have like a 0% heat loss. I think they lose like less than 5% of the heat through their feet while they're standing on ice. Like, I mean, it's a very, very efficient system. And if they didn't have that when they're standing on ice, their feet would probably get frostbitten. And if you lose your feet, you're going to have a hard time living and swimming.
Yeah.
Just amazing, thought-through design.
Absolutely. So today, maybe we could call this a little bit of biomimicry, but today in water pipes underneath housing that has a draft coming underneath the footings of the house, a lot of times they'll wrap heat tape around the water pipes, right? And the heat tape, you can plug in the end of it, and so basically this heat is being transferred into the pipe. Well, you could think of that the same way as these heated blood vessels that are keeping everything warm wrapped around. It almost seems like it was engineered that way, doesn't it?
It does. It does seem like that. Maybe that's because it was engineered like that.
Now,
God thought of everything when he made the animals.
It is certain. What about their bills? Because I'm looking at this beautiful bill. Well, I can't quite tell because my monitor is a little bit small. What color is that bill right there?
It's like a grayish blue. Let me see if I can get up close.
Beautiful.
Head.
Ah, look at that. Okay, so it's got a very distinct bill shape, and that helps with their diet and the way they live as well?
Yeah, so they're foragers. Let's grab this little guy out. We brought a little baby duck for you guys to see it too.
Oh my
Little ducks are called ducklings.
Oh,
So their beak has little ridges on it. They're called lamellae, and those help kind of sift out food from the water. And then some diving ducks have a more serrated bill for catching fish.
okay.
But they're just really, really amazing little creatures. Their bill has sensory organs, so it's very sensitive, and they can feel what they're grabbing. And they can use it to sift out food and forage. They're great foragers.
That is so amazing. Now, you spent a lot of time around animals. You have a lot of birds, you have reptiles, you have just some amazing things. My favorite is probably the owl, Owlix, which hopefully you'll bring on the program at some point. But what's something surprising or unexpected that you think ducks could teach us, a lesson that they could teach us today?
Well, so they're diurnal and they love to wake up in the morning and spend all day. Do you know what time a duck wakes up?
I don't know.
They wake up at the quack of dawn. But ducks are just really cool creatures. And I feel like there's a lot to learn from these beautiful little animals. They're so fun to watch swim, and just their design, just looking at them, it just screams of a creator. Yeah. You look at this animal from their beak to their feathers, how waterproof they are, to their little toes that can stand on ice for hours and hours on end. I mean, it just points to this incredible designer, the Lord Jesus Christ. And when I look at these animals, I'm just in awe of what he's done. Yeah. And the fact that he would then come down and die on a cross for my sins. Yeah. That's amazing. And I love looking at his creation. It's just a reminder of what he did, that he spoke all this into existence. And then he humbled himself enough to come and die on a cross for my sins. That's just amazing.
It is. And you also have to think about the creativity, right? Because if we think about God's creation, he has put so much diversity. I mean, look at that tiny little creature there, all of the coloration, all of the different designs and body shapes and styles. And then it gets even so much deeper than that, because there are structural components that are perfect for whatever situation we're placed in, whether it's a duck or whether it's a person or whether it's an ape or whether it's your family pet, right? But throughout it all, there's variety and diversity and creativity like we can never believe. And then you say, well, hang on a second. If we're created in God's image, then that means that the one who made all of those different colors and all of those different designs, then he made us with this tiny fraction of his ability to appreciate it and to use it. And then we come across someone like a car engineer or a painter or a sculptor, and we see those colors and we see those designs, and it's like it's pointing us right back to the idea that we are created in God's image. You know, it seems like ducks aren't just birds that happen to swim. They're built for life in the water. Their feathers don't just keep them dry. Their feet don't just help them move. Their bills don't just filter food. Every one of the features is part of this bigger picture, this package that works together seamlessly. And the more that we study these animals, the clearer it becomes that they weren't on their way to becoming better swimmers. I mean, everything was already in place, and that's not random chance, but instead incredible design. Michael, thank you so much for bringing these animals on the I can't wait to have you in studio with some animals one day, but I tell you, just being able to get up close and see them on camera is just amazing. Yeah, I look forward to having you back.
Every time I see them, I'm in awe.
I would encourage everybody to go check out what Michael is doing. You can check out Doe River Gorge, an amazing camp in East Tennessee. It has a lot of activities. It is an amazing place to go, spend some time, get closer to God's creation. I want you to follow Michael at genesisanimalsanctuary.org. Get involved with what he is doing. I'm telling you what, just the fact that he's bringing live animals on the program and talking about the design of those animals, not talking about the evolutionary principles which don't hold up to good scientific rigor and observation, is all pointing back to the design of the God of the Bible and ultimately to the gospel message. We are going to have to do this again soon. At this point, though, it's time to take a quick break. We're going to be right back with a whole lot more on the Genesis Science Report. Limestone, we see it all around the world, but what is it exactly and how did it get here?
But let's delve a little bit into limestone. This was found by our good friend John Mackay, our mutual friend John Mackay, a few years back, right? He was driving through the Peak District and he shouted, "Stop!" And he said, "I've seen limestone." And the driver was like, "We're in the middle of the Peak District, it's all limestone around here." No, I found some special limestone.
On Wonders Without Number.
Join us at the Wonder Center and Science Museum for this month's Unwrapped event, where we feature expert speakers presenting scientific and biblical discoveries.
It pays to learn history, folks.
We cannot create an aircraft even close to what these birds can do.
This changes the way we do biology.
Discounted tickets are available for an after-hours adventure, including museum admission with kids' hands-on activities, a planetarium movie, Tesla experience, and pre-show entertainment. Perfect for the whole family.
What you believe about the history of the world is going to affect the way that you study the world today.
You see a mathematical order here. You see the orthogonal lines. You see the repeating patterns.
You don't understand what it takes to make a cell. That's serious engineering.
Come be inspired as you learn. The evening presentation is free, but seating is extremely limited, so RSVP immediately at wondercenter.org.
Squids in limestone in the middle of the Grand Canyon.
But the big problem is, how did those fossils get deposited in the middle of a 7-foot thick layer? According to the narrative, is something like 36 million years in duration. I'm replacing the narrative with some type of rapid smothering event.
On Wonders Without Number. We're back and it's time to hear from you, our viewers. Our first viewer voices submission tonight comes from Katie Munoz on Facebook. She says, "What an incredible way to share the gospel with people. I love the newsletter and all of the evidence that they show to back up the Bible. This is a blessing to me and many others." Thank you so much, Katie, for that positive feedback. We send out our email updates once a week. If you're not currently getting that, you need to go to davidrivesministries.org right now and sign up for those email updates, because we send out free videos every single week on science and Bible history and how it all connects back to our Christian walk. Our second testimonial comes from Ann Saylor, who had this to say after visiting the Wonder Center. "We had a fabulous time at the center today. They have so many great exhibits. There are hands-on exhibits for younger children and intellectual material for deep exploration and everything in between. Favorites from today: the Alaska Animals exhibit, the gemstones, the fossils, and the Tesla coil demonstration. This is a great place for field trips, family visits, and senior adult outings. We look forward to going back." Thanks so much for that comment, and well, I can't wait to see you back in the near future. We're seeing people from all over the country and all over the world who are stopping in and being encouraged by the Wonder Center and Science Museum. Now, if you've been impacted by the work that this ministry is doing, I want to hear from you. Connect with us on social media or just email comments at genesissciencenetwork.com, and perhaps we'll be able to use some of those comments in our future episodes. Now it's time to shift our focus to a process so complex and precise that it defies evolutionary explanation. It's called metamorphosis. On this week's Genesis Science Minute, could this remarkable change have happened by accident, or does it point to an intelligent designer? Let's take a look right now. When you see a beautiful butterfly, you probably don't stop to consider how they began as a tiny caterpillar hatching out of an egg on the leaf of a plant. There's no way that the complex process of metamorphosis could evolve over millions of years of trial and error. This awe-inspiring process was designed by a creator who, we're told, formed every winged thing according to its kind. And think about the beauty present in so many butterflies today. Shapes of every size and colors of every shade, unspeakable elegance. There's a life lesson here. God can take a life that has no apparent shape or purpose and make it beautiful. Next time you're wondering why you're here, just think of the awkward caterpillar and its amazing metamorphosis into a spectacular butterfly. I'm David Rives. Truly, the heavens declare the glory of God.
For more information, visit David Rives Ministries at davidrives.com. DavidRives.com.
And now it's time to jump into this week's Ministry Report. Recently, I had the privilege of sitting down with Michael Booth for an episode of Changing the Narrative. Now, if you're familiar with Michael, you know that he's not only a talented musician, but also a thoughtful communicator who has a deep passion for sharing the gospel through music and personal testimony. In this episode, we explored his journey from struggling with stage fright to becoming one of the most recognized voices in Southern gospel music. Here's a clip from our conversations. So this led you on this path of music, many albums. Did you always feel called, like this is what I am supposed to do?
I don't know that I would use the word called, other than it was a, what is the best way to describe this? It was just the lane I was in. That was the only thing I knew was moving this way towards music.
Yes.
Originally, I was a drummer. I was a jazz drummer, and I was scared. I'd had horrible stage fright. People don't believe that now, but in my early teens and mid-teens, into my 20s actually.
Wow.
Scared to death. My brother was so good. My dad was so good, and I hadn't done it. I'd been behind a drum kit. And I knew, David, that if I was going to do it, there was going to be a period of time of not being good until I could get good, if I may say it that way. And so if you want to call it courage, tenacity, whatever you want to call it, I had to go through that period of time of not sounding good, not presenting myself well, and being very embarrassed, until one day you wake up and you realize, I think I'm starting to figure this out.
If you want to hear the full conversation, you can watch it right now on our YouTube channel, David Rives Ministries on YouTube. Just search Michael Booth, Changing the Narrative. And if you are not already subscribed to the podcast, if you're on your way to work every morning, it is something encouraging that you can do, that you can listen to, hear these inspiring stories, many of them where we insert bits of scientific proof and truth that aligns with God's Word as well. So it's a really great, it's called Changing the Narrative. You can find it on your favorite podcasting app. And while you're at it, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell on YouTube so you never miss an episode or a new video. We have incredible guests lined up on Changing the Narrative, and you won't want to miss what's coming up next. Now, the prayers and generosity of our viewers continues to make all of this possible. Your monthly support helps ensure that we can continue to share the wonders of God's creation with individuals all over the globe. It is making a difference. We invite you to partner with us in ministry by making a contribution today. You can visit our website or call 931-212-7990 to donate and to learn more about this important work. Next, we're diving into this week's Heavens Declare, where we take a closer look at an animal that was once called the horse tiger. With their striking black and white stripes, zebras are uniquely designed for survival. Their patterns serve multiple purposes, from predator confusion to also temperature regulation. And we have to ask ourselves, could such an intricate design have evolved by chance, or does it reflect the handiwork of a creator? Let's take a look right now. So, tell me, this is zebra, you say?
Yes, it's a small zebra, but...
Okay, I see it right there.
Yes.
Now, the giraffe track.
Yes, the
This is the giraffe. That's really large there.
Yeah.
and you can definitely see, especially with the shadows coming in from the sun, it makes it easy to see these tracks.
Yes.
Well, let's follow them and see where they go.
Yes, we can follow.
In ancient Roman times, black and white striped horses were trained to pull chariots in circuses. Now, these creatures were known as horse tigers. If you haven't already guessed, the horse tiger referred to what we now call zebras. Native to Africa, there are 3, possibly 4 species, each with its own distinctive stripe pattern. Zebras spend their days in groups called harems. These consist of a stallion and several mares along with their foals, and if a predator attacks, they will aggressively defend one another. They've been known to kill lions with a swift kick to the head or the jaw. These harems often form larger groups and mix with wildebeests and antelopes for added safety in numbers. These massive groups migrate 1,800 miles each year in search for fresh grazing lands and water. Throughout this migration, each harem stays in a smaller group within the larger group. Of course, the most striking feature of zebras is their stripes. Scientists have been researching these black on white, or is that white on black, patterns, trying to determine how they help zebras. Well, it appears that they have multiple uses. The pattern helps with camouflage, as a large herd of moving black and white stripes makes it difficult for a predator to focus on any one zebra in particular. The stripes also confuse horseflies, keeping the insects at bay. They disperse heat, reflecting some 70% of the hot sun away, and may even serve as sunscreen. Zebra foals can recognize their mothers by their stripe patterns, as no 2 zebras have the exact same pattern. Zebras belong to the same created kind as horses and donkeys. All 3 can successfully breed with one another, producing zedonks or zonkies and zorses. Generally, these zebroids, or zebra hybrids, have a brown horse-like coloring, but they'll retain the zebra stripes in some areas. The quagga is an extinct member of the horse kind that looked similar to zebroids and used to roam Africa in vast herds. European settlers in the 1800s quickly hunted them into extinction, but scientists are working on bringing them back using selective breeding. Hides from the quagga still remain, and scientists were able to extract DNA, and they discovered that the quagga is a subspecies of the plains zebra. Selective breeding of plains zebras is bringing back the look of the quagga, so someday herds of these beautiful zebras may once again roam the plains of Africa. I'm David Rives in South Africa. Truly, the heavens declare the glory of God. I tell you, I always love my time in Africa. I would love for you to join me in South Africa for an 11-day African family photo safari. It is a trip of a lifetime. You can find out more information on our website. Up next, we are going to hear from another expert on a fascinating topic that you won't want to miss. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after the break. Hi, I'm David Rives, and I'm inviting you to visit the Creation Superstore, the largest Origins-related store in the world. Not only will you find every book and video title on creation versus evolution, science, but also every resource that teaches us about our origin and how it all takes us back to Genesis, a grand designer, the God of the Bible, and ultimately, yes, the gospel message. Documentaries your family can trust, fossils, teaching videos, children's books, church Bible studies, homeschool supplements, and expert scientific literature. If you can't find a title, call us up and we'll add it. Normally, you'd have to visit dozens of sites to gain access to all of the titles that are out there, and then you would be at a loss to whether the book or video was worth the purchase. But not here. We've curated the best of the best into top 10 lists. And on some of my favorite products, you'll find the Rives rating, where I help guide you on the best resources available for not only those who love history, biblical studies, and creation science, but also great products at the layman level, easy to understand for those who are learning or want their children and grandchildren to be exposed to a biblical worldview. Just look for the Rives rating to find my personal favorites. Use the search bar to look up a topic or follow our menu to sort by ministry, subject, or author. Give us a call at 931-212-7990 as you're browsing. We have ministry volunteers who will do their best to assist you at all hours of the day and even help you place your order. Yes, a real person. Get ready for a secure shopping experience brought to you by the leaders of creation-based research. Your purchase goes towards ministry outreach and also supports the authors and organizations who publish the material, most of whom are personal friends and colleagues of mine. I'm David Rives. Truly, the heavens declare the glory of God. Welcome back to The Report. Every so often, a scientific discovery shakes up the way that we think about the past. Evolutionary scientists have long claimed that dinosaur fossils are tens of millions of years old, meaning that any trace of soft tissue, like proteins or collagen, original biomolecules, should have completely degraded a long time ago. But what happens when scientists actually find preserved collagen in dinosaur bones? A new paper co-authored by our guest today presents strong evidence that original collagen protein has been found inside an Metamorphosis fossil from the Hell Creek Formation. The implications of this are enormous. So if soft original biomolecules can survive inside dinosaur bones, could that mean that these fossils are far younger than some of mainstream science claims? To discuss this groundbreaking discovery, we're joined by Dr. Brian Thomas, a scientist and paleontology researcher who has been investigating soft tissue and fossils for years. His latest paper brings together cutting-edge mass spectrometry techniques and detailed analysis to confirm the presence of original biological material in dinosaur bones. Dr. Thomas, welcome back to the program.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
It is great to have you here. Your new paper documents the presence of collagen inside of an Edmontosaurus fossil. First, what is an Edmontosaurus? Where did it get the name?
Well, just like it sounds, Edmonton, Canada. So there's a huge cache of these particular looking. It's like a version of a hadrosaur. The hadrosaurs, there's so many varieties of them, but they're all duck-billed dinosaurs, not because they had a duck's bill, but because they had a mouth in the shape of a duck's bill. So Edmontosaurus is one of those, and we had the fortune of getting a sample, a large bone sample, and accessioning it at the University of Liverpool, where I still maintain connections from my PhD research days.
Amazing. Okay, so walk us through the key findings of this research and what was discovered.
Well, we've used about 4 different techniques well, the job of a scientist is to say, to disprove your hypothesis. So we're looking at the bone thinking, let's show that there's no collagen here. And what we ended up doing is using one technique that showed this might be collagen or some sort of protein in general, spectroscopic techniques. And then we used a microscopical technique called the cross-polarized light microscopy, which showed traces of what could be collagen doing something to the light in our microscope. We know that it does that in fresh bone. But then, like you said in the intro, it was the sequencing that really told us, though there definitely is collagen in here, and we got collagen sequence. And what that means is that we took portions of the bone and we processed them through a mass spectrometer. And in fact, we used an outside lab and contracted them to do the work, connected with the University of Liverpool. And in fact, it is on the campus there. And boy, they said, hey guys, we have several sequences. And so these are the specific chain or ordering of amino acids that we know is specific to collagen. And moreover, we compared then the sequence that we found from our bone with all kinds of sequences of living creatures. And the best match was that sequence, which was already published in 2009 from another hadrosaur, Brachylophosaurus, and it was an exact match with that sequence. So it matches what's already in the literature in terms of published collagen sequence for hadrosaur bone. And finally, and for the first time, we had a separate analysis which looked specifically at quantifying hydroxyproline. So anyway, that's technical talk, but basically it was another verification that we are indeed looking at collagen. And that's significant because this can't be bacterial contamination, because bacteria don't make collagen. They don't have collagen. That's specifically from creatures with bones called vertebrates.
And that's interesting because, again, when this is not the first time that supposed original biomolecules have been found within bones, but it is interesting that we continue to find these things. Many times people will then look at that and they'll say, hey, well, this must be contamination, or maybe you didn't collect it cleanly enough. But you have done multiple different tests. In this new paper, you're outlining how, okay, well, we saw this under a polarized microscope. Then we did mass spectrometry on it. Then we were able to sequence it to rule out all of these things. And it's still looking like this is original collagen from the Edmontosaurus. But maybe we could talk about this for a moment, because how long will these types of materials last, and would it ever stretch out to the supposed 66 plus million years that dinosaurs were supposed to have gone extinct?
Not at all, not at all. And that is why our research is frankly difficult to publish. We actually submitted our paper and all our results to a different journal twice. And the reason we got rejected ultimately was because the reviewers that were selected by the editor, so these are blind, this is the blind review process that we do as scientists, and those reviewers said, well, it can't be collagen because collagen can't last as long as we know these dinosaurs have been, buried in 70 million years is the age assignment here. So, and we just couldn't get around the bias against our results. So we spent about 4 years just retooling our script or the verbiage in our paper, going back and providing extra data because they wanted backup to the backup to the extra, and more details than are ever typically published when you're just doing standard mass spectrometry analyses. And eventually we got it through, with analytical chemistry, and we appreciate that. So what I'm saying is, these reviewers and their comments that we experienced as authors are evidence that that there are many scientists out there that know that the collagen cannot last as long as it must have lasted if these were deposited 70 million years ago. And some of our co-authors have no idea about the controversy. They just like the thrill of working with dinosaur bone. But I think that the evidence really does stick a needle, to put it mildly, into the whole old age paradigm. I don't think the bones are that old. I'm content to say that these bones were deposited only thousands of years ago in Noah's flood. Of course, we couldn't write that in the paper, or we'd never get published. So we made a bland conclusion saying, look, we found collagen and it doesn't look like it's contamination.
And that's incredible, because you have... not only have you published in scientific journals, but is it safe to say that there's 100 other scientific reports and papers that have been published about these original biomolecules within dinosaur bones?
Ours was the 127th,
wow.
And we keep tabs on that. We maintain a list online. It's a Google Doc. And despite all this avalanche of evidence of original biomaterials in all kinds of fossils, in any rock layer, you can expect it almost. And in any continent, you can expect it. So it's worldwide, it's throughout the geologic column, and it fits what we'd expect from the flood model, having deposited the whole rock stack just in 1 year, thousands of years ago, 4,500 or so years ago, according to the Bible's chronology. It fits that because we find proteins down low, up in the middle, and where we found ours, for example, and up high, of course. So,
and maybe we could talk for a moment about this, because most people would agree that these types of components are somewhat, I mean, even if they are robust, they're still going to decay after a certain period of time. Could the flood model described in the book of Genesis help us understand the preservation if these animals were buried so quickly under these sediments with pressure cutting off the air supply and actually helping to preserve these things?
Yes. You have to get it buried quickly at the outset, at the very first, or it will decay through bacteria. So, or it'll get scavenged. So you have to get these buried deep and fast and all over the world. And that's exactly what we'd expect from the Bible's description of Noah's flood, where Peter says in 2 Peter chapter 3 that the world that then existed perished, being flooded with water. So we take that to mean lots of water, lots of mud from Noah's Ark and Noah's flood. And so that deep and fast burial. But that's just the start. So that's just to even have a chance to find protein. After that, even under ideal conditions, proteins will undergo chemistry because there's no way to seal off the air in any type of rock. There's no hermetic rock. So there's air and water vapor penetrate the entire surface of the earth and even deep beneath the crust and into the crust. So chemistry happens relentlessly, and that's how we're confident that these proteins should not be there even after 1 million years, let alone any length of time longer than that. So we're looking at an order of magnitude older, this age assignment, and that's why we think that we go with the biochemistry that shows that these proteins cannot last 1 million years, and that actually matches the timing of the flood. But readers of our article are going to have to reach that conclusion for themselves.
Of course. And again, real, robust scientific research is pointing us back to what appears to match with the biblical timeline. I would encourage everybody to go to ICR.org, the Institute for Creation Research. I would encourage people to check out more of your research and check out the paper for yourself. It's a little bit technical, but at the same time, it's important. We're talking about real Jurassic Park type stuff. Also, Dr. Thomas, Living in Light of Genesis, a foundation for faith, science, and culture. This is one of your newest books. I would encourage everybody to go check that out as well. This has been an incredible discussion. I mean, the discovery of collagen in dinosaur fossils is yet another reminder that the evidence we dig up continues to challenge long-age evolutionary assumptions. Thank you so much for being here with us and sharing. And that is it for today. I want to thank you for joining us on the Genesis Science Report. Until next week, keep looking up. I'm David Rives. Truly, the heavens declare the glory of God.